The essential nature of life, not just human life, every life is, it is longing to become a full-fledged life. So is a human being. So wherever you may be in your life right now, you want to be something more. If that something more happens, you want to be something more. If that happens, something more. You will see whatever your aspirations right now, suppose all of them get fulfilled within the next 1 year, you will immediately see you will have another aspiration. If everything that you want gets all fulfilled by tomorrow morning, you will see you will have much more things to do. Because the very nature of being human is such, you always want to be something more. But if you really look at it, what you want is not something more, what you want is a limitless expansion. Even if I make you the king of this planet, don't look at me hopefully, huh? I will not make such a blunder. But suppose we make you the king of this planet, do you believe you will be fulfilled? You will look at the stars. If you have this planet in your hands, you will look at the stars. If I give you one galaxy, you will look at the next galaxy. This is the nature of the human being. There is something within us which is always longing to become boundless. But in most human beings, because of their fear of suffering, they think that if they desire for something and it doesn't happen, they will suffer. Because of the fear of suffering, this longing to become boundless is finding a very constipated expression. This constipated expression of longing for the boundless gets labeled as ambition. What you think is ambition is just a constipated expression for a boundless expansion that every life is longing for. But you will see in your life, no matter what happens, you will see you will want something more. Somebody may label it as greed, it is not about greed, because the very nature of the human being is such, no matter how many pacifist philosophies you teach him, you cannot contain him. People have told you, you must be happy with what you have, whatever God has given you, that should be the right thing for you. But it's not worked for one human being on the planet. It only works either when you're very sick or very old. Otherwise, if you have little energy coursing through your body, you want to do something more. So it's not more. A human being, there is something within you which doesn't like boundaries. It doesn't matter where I set the boundary, the moment you become conscious of the boundary, you want to break that boundary. This is the nature of the human being. So if you do not like boundaries, what should you seek? That's a question. As long as you live in the physical nature of the existence, the very nature of physicality is a defined boundary. Only because there is a defined boundary, physical is possible. We can call this a physical body because it has boundaries. If I pull out all the boundaries, this will not be physical anymore. So somewhere, unconsciously, every human being is wanting to touch a dimension beyond physical nature. If you touch a dimension beyond the physical nature, then we use the word called spirituality. Spiritual means not looking up or looking down. Spiritual means your experience of life has transcended the limitations of being physical. Something more than physical is happening to you. This means you are on the spiritual process. So this longing is there in every human being. So essentially, what you do in your life, our activity is not about us. Activity is about the world that we live in. I'm saying, our activity is always about the times in which we exist. It's not about us really. What times do we exist? What is most needed right now? That's what we do. But how to be is the question. If it comes to how to be, there's only one way to be, that somewhere in every human being there is a longing to expand beyond physical limitations. This is happening in 4 different ways. If it finds a very basic physical expression, we call this sexuality. You are trying to expand the boundaries of who you are. What you are not, you are trying to include as yourself. This is what sexuality is. If it finds an emotional expression, we call this love. Once again, something that is not you, you are trying to make it a part of you. If it finds a mental expression, it gets labeled as ambition, greed, conquest, or simply shopping. If it finds a conscious expression, then we call it yoga. Yoga means union. In some way, consciously you learnt how to obliterate the boundaries of your individual nature. Now your ability to experience yourself beyond your physical existence has become a living reality for you. This is everybody's longing, but it finds constipated expression. Instead of that, if you find a conscious expression, life will be very, very different.
If you think you're mortal, born one day and destined to die, then you are utterly wrong. If you think you are impure because you have such nonsensical thoughts going on in your mind, then you are completely wrong. If you think that suffering is your fate and that's how you're going to spend the rest of your life, then you are wrong again. The words that I'm going to share with you today talks about your true nature. It tells you who you really are in your essence, and at the same time dispels all these wrong notions of yours. This verse is from the spiritual text Atmabodha, which has been written by none other than Bhagwan Adi Shankara. It goes like this. Prakashorkasya toyasya shaityam agneryatoshnata swabhava satchidananda nitya nirmalatatmanaha. Just as light is the nature of sun, coolness is the nature of water, and heat is the nature of fire, similarly, the nature of the self is eternity, purity, existence, consciousness and bliss. And you are that self. Yes, this is who you really are. That is your true nature. You are eternal, you are pure, you are existence itself, you are pure consciousness, and your very being is nothing but bliss. You may not be able to digest what I just said because for you, your identity lies in the body. So when you hear such words like eternity, purity, consciousness, bliss, you don't relate with them at all. But even if you don't relate with them at all, it is not going to change the truth. Even if you think that you are the body, but you will not become the body. Simply by thinking that you are the body, you are not going to become the body. You will remain what you truly are in your essence. The verse here first gives you some examples. It says that light is sun's nature. You cannot think of sun without the light. You cannot see a dark sun, right? And same is the case with fire. You cannot imagine fire without the heat. Have you ever seen a cool ball of fire? In the same way, your very essence is bliss. Your very essence is consciousness. Your very essence is existence. And you can experience this if you cease to identify with the body-mind complex. If you create the gap between the body and the real you, you can easily experience the truth of this verse. Millions of years of identification with the body doesn't allow you to accept what the scripture says about you. But it's really amazing that when someone says something bad about you, you immediately accept that without even a moment's gap. Isn't that amazing? But when the scriptures, when all the spiritual masters tell you that you're not the body, you're not the mind, why does it become so hard for you to accept that? But as I told you, that any amount of doubt on your part will not change the truth. You are the infinite consciousness and you will remain so for the whole eternity. Even if you keep identifying with the body, it will not change the truth. So, if you really want to know the truth of your being, if you really want to know who you truly are beyond the body-mind complex, then dive deep in the ocean of spiritual practices. Dive deep into them, and then you will come out with the pearl of self-realization.